This is a story about when I accidentally dosed with DOB, dioxy-bromo-amphetamine. So when I was younger, I used to go to a lot of music festivals, hippie festivals, gatherings, raves, all that stuff. One time, I think it was about 2007, I think I was like 19, 20 years old. I was going to a rainbow gathering in Ocala, Florida. For those of you who don't know what rainbow gatherings are, it's basically a shit ton of hippies and homeless kids and gutter punks and train hoppers all get together in national forests, and it's basically just a giant city in the middle of the woods. It's kind of like a commune. There's pretty much everybody shares food. Money isn't really allowed there. It's more on a barter system. Drugs are pretty well available, mainly psychedelics. So after arriving at Ocala National Forest, I was walking the trails to get to a campsite. You usually have to walk about a mile through these trails to get to like the main circle. And somebody offered me some acid. It was plain white blotter paper. I took 2 hits and I put them on my tongue and kept walking down the trails. I keep walking about a quarter of a mile and I start to see cardboard signs nailed to the trees that say, "Don't eat the acid. It's not LSD, it's DOB." And at this point, I was only 19 or 20 years old, so I didn't know what the fuck DOB was. So I started to get a little nervous, so I figured hurry up and get to the campsite, set up a tent, build a fire, get everything going, because I expected a trip to come soon, and I didn't really know what to expect because I'd never heard of DOB. So I rushed to this spot where a group of my friends were at. I set up a tent real quick. They already had a fire going. So after I set up my tent, I go sit by the fire. It's starting to get dark. I don't feel anything yet, but after sitting by the fire for about 10 minutes, I start to feel really nauseous. I get up and walk about 50 feet away to a tree and I throw up. As soon as I lift my head up from throwing up, I instantly feel the effects of this DOB. At first, it feels just like your basic come on of an LSD trip. I started seeing the waves in my peripheral vision, and the nausea went away, so I walk back over to the fire and sit down. After about 15 minutes, I start tripping hard. So I'm sitting by the fire, just conversing with a group of friends. There was probably 25 of us at this specific campsite. There were thousands at that gathering, but we all just sat around the fire talking about stuff. And during this trip, I basically felt like that Limitless movie. So DOB is dioxy-bromo-amphetamine. So it's a hallucinogenic amphetamine, but it's a stimulant. So at the time, I didn't even know this, but I was sitting by this fire and I definitely felt like I could just access every part of my brain. All memories, all knowledge that I had ever learned was accessible to me. The conversations we had were really, in depth, or at least seemed that way, although I was under the influence of psychedelic. But it ended up actually being one of the best psychedelic experiences I've ever had. So with that being said, I've never done DOB again since that time, but it was a great experience, and in a weird way, I recommend it.